going on, Rebel fans? And welcome to Running with the Rebels with your host, your boy, me, Rafael Gonzalez. But no, I'm excited. I basically started this because I saw that there wasn't a ton of YouTube presence for the Rebels, and I just kind of want to get the Rebels name out there more. We're starting to be successful again in football and basketball, and so my main coverage from like a casual fan perspective of this show is just to give the rebels some more light and just kind of shoot the shit with the regular casual fan base and so I want to get it started by just talking about the upcoming football season, and maybe go over a couple topics about the football season and see what the fans' perspective is and on how you guys feel. If you guys do comment down in the comments below, I'll definitely answer back and go back and forth. And then while we're shooting the shit and having fun, discussing whatever topics that we may have here, it also might shed some more light on the Rebel program in general and help these kids kind of succeed in the program. And so want to thank everybody first and foremost for tuning in and giving me a shot. And secondly, this is a work in progress. This is kind of my first videos doing things covering the Rebels. And I'm really excited, kind of nervous too. I was really nervous to do these videos because I've been a lifelong Rebel fan, and there's some kind of scrutiny that goes into it when you start doing videos and you have your certain takes and whatnot. But I do want to kind of shed more light, like I said, on the Rebel program, because when you look on YouTube, there is some, don't get me wrong, but there's not like a lot of coverage for them like on the YouTube scene. And so I thought it'd be a good place for me to start and kind of discuss the Rebels. So we might do some predictions on the show today and kind of my take on how I think the season might go. And maybe shoot a couple questions to you guys, and hopefully I get some responses in the comments, and then we can, go from there. Again, like I said, it's a work in progress. I worked on the editing at the beginning and all that I think can improve. Audio, I hope, is good. I'm going to be going over audio here soon. And hopefully it's at a decent level when I do put it on YouTube. Because I do a gaming channel that I've been doing for like a month now, and I can't seem to figure the audio out. So I'm hopefully going to figure that audio out with these Rebel videos. But welcome everybody in. If you're a Rebel fan, super proud to have you in here. And just want to go over first and foremost what you guys think predictions for this season might be. If I had to take a shot in the dark, I would say that I have high hopes for this season. Do I think we maybe go undefeated? We have a chance. I think we have a chance, but it's going to be hard. It's hard to go undefeated in this season, and so I want to kind of taper my expectations as a Rebel fan and not sound too outlandish. But I definitely think we're on track to have a good season. Especially the Rebels have a lot of former 4- and 5-star players that are, or were, right? I shouldn't say were, but are athletic, and they showed a lot of promise coming out of either high school or that first program they're at, but they haven't kind of like fulfilled those 4- and 5-star predictions that they had coming out. And even if we can get half of those guys to perform on that high level like they were coming out of high school, I think we have a chance to have a really successful season. And if that were the case, and like I said, it would be I think we would have a good chance to go 11-1 or possibly a 12-0 season, which would be fantastic, But if I have to set reality in, I think the UCLA game is going to be a tough game. They have a very mobile quarterback that shown that he can throw the ball. He's had his mishaps at Tennessee. I don't want to say his name because I know I'm going to fuck it up, but and so that can pose a problem for us because I do think we do have a lot of former 4- and 5-stars, so we do have a lot of talent coming in, but a lot of that talent is unproven. And depending on how that goes, like I said, if we can get half of those guys to perform at a very high level, I think, like I said, I think we have a shot of going 11-1. And well, that was my phone. Excuse me, guys. But no. I, on the low end here, and I want to, like I said, I want to taper expectations and make them a kind of more realistic expectation. There is a very possible chance that a lot of these former 4- and 5-stars don't live up to the hype, or maybe a lot of these new guys coming in don't live up to the hype, and you might get like an 8-4 7-5 season, which would still be a really good season for us. But I'm shooting for that high, and I think we have high hopes. When you have a good coach like Dan Mullen at the helm, it's another new addition that we have, right? Not only head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive corner, we have a lot of question marks for us that are just unknowns. But if you look at some of the coaching track record where they've been, especially head coach Dan Mullen, I think we really have a chance for a lot of success. He's former SEC, just like our former coach Barry Odom. Um, Obviously, Odom was like at Missouri when they did the transition to the SEC, whereas we are getting a proven coach that was in the SEC who had a good record. Didn't necessarily pan out at the schools that he was previously at, but I think that has to do a lot to do with high expectations from those schools and them wanting, I think, more than they can bite off and not being patient enough to watch him succeed in those spots. That's just me, right? And so like I said, we have, and realistically, I'd probably say we finish anywhere from between like 8-4 and 11-1 or 12-0. So if I had to make a solid prediction, like I said, the two games, I only said one game, the UCLA game, but the second game that I think is going to be tough, obviously, is going to be the Boise State Broncos. It's a hill that we haven't got over. Every time we push the rock up to the hill, it gets rolled back down on us when we face them, and so it's going to be a big challenge for us to kind of overcome them. But I do think we have a shot. Like I said, I think Dan is the man, and he's got a plan. Now, I'm not trying to be a rapper here or anything, but no, Dan is the man, and I think he really does have a plan for us. He recently stated that he's going to be starting, not starting both quarterbacks, but playing both quarterbacks. And I think that's good. I was kind of my impressions all along. When you look at both of the quarterback skill sets, you have Calandria, who's more of a gunslinger. He can still get out of the pocket. He can still run. He likes to make those dangerous throws down the field, but he can make those throws. Alex Orji, on the other hand, was more of a runner, physical, very physical and stout runner at Michigan. Had trouble kind of landing those throws when he was at Michigan, so hopefully that's something that he did shore up coming over here. But I think they're going to be used in a package. Is how I always thought they were going to be used. I think after the first game, they still might be used like that too. I think people think that maybe the first game he's just trying out multiple quarterbacks just to see, which I think that is true. I think you might see Cam Friel in there if we do get a big lead going into the fourth quarter. Maybe even possible Gale Ochoa getting some throws in just to kind of get him going. I've heard really good things about him. Never really seen him practice, but hearing people that seen him practice, the way he throws the ball, the way he holds himself, that Gale Ochoa eventually may have a shot to get the starting position. So if we're up big, I definitely think you see most of the quarterback room get in there and make some plays. But I definitely think Dan's plan is to ride Calandria as the starter. And in any kind of short yardage situations that might occur, I think you're going to see Alex Orji get in there, mix it up, make some plays happen. Because it's not only is going to throw the defense off guard, right? You have a different quarterback, you have different skill sets that you have to pay attention and watch out for. But like I said, Alex is a very big physical guy. You just look at him and his physique and his skill set, and those third and short situations. I think he can easily pound the ball, overpower a defensive man or two to get those short yardage touchdowns if needed. The running back room, you got one of the few guys coming back. And Jaden Thomas, Jet. And so we'll see how he does this year. Jet, to me, didn't like overly impress me last year, but he did what he needed to do, especially coming from that freshman year where he scored all those touchdowns. I felt like he would take a step up, and he did take a step up, but it wasn't as big a step up as I thought he was going to take. Like I said, he did what he had to do in the running back room, hopefully with a little bit of help this year. We have the Utah transfer. Name off the top of my head, I don't know. I should probably bring up a roster just to give me a little bit more insight. But I'm kind of doing this first video on the fly. Next week's video is going to be a little bit more set in stone. But yeah, with the help in the running back room, I think we have a good shot to have really good running backs. The biggest offensive skill positions, I think, question mark that we have is going to be wide receiver. Obviously, we lost Ricky White last year. We lost Jacob DeJesus this year. He transferred over to Cal. And that's going to be something that I think is going to be our biggest question mark when it comes to offensive skill set or skill positions of how we do this year. I haven't heard a ton about him. We had a couple young kids last year coming back. Again, the names off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly. But I remember there was a couple towards the end of the year that really kind of started to step up, and maybe they can play a lot bigger of a role this year. And so that's going to be the most interesting thing, along with offensive line. And both lines, I think, have a lot of question marks, offensive and defensive line. And speaking about defensive line, transitioning to the defense, I think is really the biggest question mark. I think one of the few big names that we have coming back is Marcel McDuffie coming in at linebacker, and he had a knee injury last year, or a leg injury last year, that kind of sat him out towards the end of that season, and he didn't look like his former self like he was at the beginning of the season. So hopefully that leg and that knee is kind of fully healed, and he's ready to go, because we're going to definitely need him to step up as leader on that defensive side. We have a lot of transfers from decent programs at the cornerback position. And so hopefully that gets shored up, because we did get beat downfield quite a bit the last 2 years, honestly. Not even just last year, but the last 2 years, downfield defensive coverage seemed to be an issue for us, at least for me, in my personal opinion. And so hopefully that gets shored up. Other than that, special teams, I hear good things about it, but with the loss of your kicker, Chade Chittenham, excuse me, Cade Chittenham, he transferred to USC, if I'm not mistaken. And so losing a kicker like that, who was a freshman, who kicked really well for us, and he could have grown into that position and been like an All-American kicker, in my opinion, which I think he still might be if he stays all 3-4 years in college. There's a lot of question marks. We have a punter from Australia. We already know those Aussies can boot the ball like no other, and so I think punting is going to be okay for us. But like I said, this is just off assumptions. But what I really hope is that our punt blocking and our coverage from kickoffs and punts are just like they were last year. Going to be honest, a lot of games we stayed in the game, or we spread the gap a little bit more in those games because of our special teams. And so hopefully our special teams is up to the task to be what they have been like the last couple years, because we may need it this year more so than the last few years. But going into a prediction on this last game, I really think that we may cover. The spread is, what is it, 24.5, I believe it is, or 25.5, and I think we win by 4 touchdowns. From my understanding, last year Idaho State was able to score the ball pretty much at will, but their defense was atrocious, horrendous, and whatever other adjectives you want to use to describe really, really bad. I was looking at some of the scores towards the end of the year last year, and I think one of the games they gave up 70 something points. And they scored 30 or 40, but gave up 70 something points and still lost the game by 30 points. And so, and then there was a couple games down the stretch where they were high scoring games where they were in the game. But like I said, their defense just couldn't make stops. I think one was like 40 something to 40 something where they lost, right? 30 something to 40 something where they lost. And so those are close games where their defense just couldn't make stops, but these are against FCS schools. So if we want to be the team and have the success that we wanted to have, I think that we need to show dominance in this first game. And we have a second game against Sam Houston State, which I also think that we should handle pretty well. Obviously not as well as the Idaho State game. But so for this game, I want to say that we do make the cover. We win by 4 touchdowns, and I'm going to say we win 38-10. They're bringing their quarterback back, so our defense is going to have to do a big job of stopping that. If we don't stop them, it might be a closer game than I'm imagining. Probably higher scoring for sure. 10 for them is not a ton of points. And I know I was just saying about how they score the ball a lot, and I think they're bringing back their quarterback from last year who threw over 3,000 yards passing, if I'm not mistaken, is what I heard somewhere on one of the reports. And so defensively, we're going to have to show some stuff to kind of shut that down. Maybe even like a bend but don't break. Maybe they get into field goal range, maybe miss a couple field goals for my score to hold out. If not, if our defense isn't up to the task, it could be a little bit closer game, but I still think we handle it. But it might be more of a 44-31 game or something like that, right? And that's going to be kind of iffy for us, I think, and things that we might need to shore up going into the next week against Sam Houston State. And lastly, just want to, ask you guys, who do you think should be the quarterback starting for us, right? Would you rather have Calandria, or would you rather have Orgy, or do you not mind the kind of QB kind of situation where they both play? I really don't mind the co QB situation. But if you had to put a gun to my head and ask me to choose one or the other, I would definitely probably have to say that I would rather have Calandria at the quarterback position. Some of the highlights that I've seen of him, some of the things that he can do in the quarterback spot, puts us in a really good position, in my opinion, to be dangerous and keep the defense on their toes at all times, whether it be deep downfield throws, long quarterback runs, or good decisions with the short passing. Calandra did have some issues with turnovers, and like I said, he likes to be a gunslinger mentality sometimes, and that can make him do some throws that he think he can make, even though he shouldn't make, that he think he can make, and then it ends up costing him. But hopefully he shores that up this year. And secondly, I want to know your guys' prediction, not only on the score this week, but what do you think our overall predictions? Do you think we make the Mountain West Championship? What's the overall record do you guys see us doing? Like I said, I think the two tough games are going to be UCLA and Boise State. Even if we lose those two games, that's a 10-2 record, and we have a really good shot at making the Mountain West Championship game, right? Hopefully, we can pull one of the two of those games out. Preferably both would be ideal. but but I think for an overall record for us, like again, if you had to force me to take one solid one, I would say that our record is going to be 10-2 this year. Hopefully, I'm wrong and it's a little bit higher, and hopefully I'm not wrong and it's a little bit lower, but I would say 10-2. I'm going to say UCLA and Boise is going to be hard. Boise has a lot of new people coming back, but they got their quarterback coming back, their backup running back coming back from last year, who was decent. Obviously, they had Genchi, so like that's a no brainer that he starts. But from my understanding, the backup is a really good quarterback, running back, excuse me, as well. And so it's going to be a hump that we have to overcome. But let me know your guys' predictions on score and final season standing predictions. But yeah, I think we make the Mountain West Championship again. I know that's me speaking as a UNLV fan, but I think we do. I think we have the ability. We have a lot of talent on the team as long as it lives up to its expectations from what they were ranked in high school. And yeah, I'm gonna be coming with another video next week. We're gonna try to do this weekly. I'll be a little bit more in depth with roster names. I want to go to the first game. I might even do some videos while I'm at the game. I have season tickets, so I'll let you guys know how that goes. But I like to watch the games in person. I usually get a roster when I'm at the game and kind of go through and see how everybody does. And that gives me a little bit better gauge because I haven't been able to do any practices. I went to the Dan Mullen press conference. It was cool. It was fun. So I think Dan's motivated. He's excited for this program. He seems genuine when he talks about us. And so yeah, we'll come back next week and let me know. Last but not least, question for you guys is let me know what I can improve on the podcast here. So I made the opening. Let me know if the opening's a little bit too long. I wanted to put the whole fight song in there. That I love that fight song, and so I wanted to put the whole fight song with the graphic. But let me know if there's anything I can do better. Any feedback that you guys maybe want to see in the future from me moving forward, and I'll try to do my best to get that started. Like I said, after this week, I'm gonna basically know the entire roster name. We'll go over individual performances on how well certain players did last week. Who do I expect to do well next week? We'll give another prediction for next week's game as well, and we'll go from there. Appreciate everybody coming in and giving me a shot. Like I said, I want to grow UNLV's YouTube presence on the YouTube sphere specifically because I didn't see a ton of that. Apologies about my bird in the background. I'll probably take him into the other room for future videos. But yeah, as always, go UNLV, go fight, win, and bring back my boy. Bring back my boy, Hey Reb, man. Bring back my boy, Hey Reb. And until next week, y'all, I'll see you guys. Peace out.